Aditya Khemka, Managing Director of Aditya Infotech, joining in. Mr. Khemka, let's start with whether you think demand is going to be spurred by GST cuts. Let me begin over there, because a lot of these needs come to the fore when there is no more money to spend. So let's start with that perspective, because it has a wide-ranging impact on all kinds of sectors and companies. How does it stack up for you?
Thank you, Tamanna, for having us. So I think you need to understand, security is more needed where there are more people, and as you get more prosperous and you grow, you need more security. So these are the two matrix we believe, people and prosperity. And I think India tick marks this very well at this moment. Uh, we really applaud the GST cuts which the government has given. It's a lot of corpus to spend, and companies are passing on all these cuts back to the market. We believe there will be enough demand in the coming quarters. In the next 2 to 4 quarters, there will be a sudden spike of demand. And I think our products are no longer a luxury. CCTV is now every day in news, every day in the newspaper. It's used across all spectrums, right from government public safety to private enterprises to home security, inside the house also. So I think it's like a necessity product. The police and the people use it for their uh, prevention of crime and many other things. So I think we are expecting a huge demand in the coming quarters.
Obviously, Q1 was also robust for you, and that was the first public information about the company since you have listed. So, curiosity to see what the theme has been like in Q2. Are you seeing margins continue in this 8% range? And of course, you've gone in for debt reduction. Does that pad up your margins further?
Yeah, so we retired our debt to the tune of 375 crores. I think that will add a bit to the margins because of financial cost savings. And more so, I think this year there will be a lot of levers, drivers for the margin growth. Our own brand share in the overall business will grow substantially with the new government norm changes, which gives impetus to domestic brands, and CP Plus being the largest domestic brand and the homegrown brand has the best opportunity to grow. Also, the product mix and the margin, better price recoveries are adding to the margins. We also now 100, our manufacturing arm is 100% subsidiary, which will add further, some certain basis points. And the company has been working strongly on a lot of localization as well as backward integration. So all those things will add up in the margin expansion as we progress.
Okay. What to your mind, Mr. Khemka? Good morning, Neeraj here. What do you mind are the key monitorables over the course of the next 9 to 12 months? Because I mean, just that there are so many moving parts currently which can impact business, right? So what is it that you are keeping a keen eye out for, and which you would probably advise investors to keep a keen eye out for as well, your investors, that is?
So I think right now, Neeraj, we are focusing a lot on market share expansion. There's a great opportunity post the new, government policy changes in the CCTV industry for expanding market share for a company like ours. With most of the competing brands from China now no longer qualifying for this critical sector for selling IP cameras under the new STQC certification. We believe our major thrust right now will be market share expansion, and that's where the company is focusing on, and that's where our guidance for a 25-30% revenue growth, we stand by that, as well as our margin guidance of 10 to 11% EBITDA.
No, so two-part question. One, I mean, Chinese companies not qualifying, can that change, and therefore can that put pressure, or you reckon that will not change?
I don't think it will change because this is a critical sector, something similar to telco and drones.
Okay,
And
okay.
these are sectors where a lot of data is involved, and I don't think we can take chance on that. And the new norms are so stringent that you need to have your product completely fortified with respect to cybersecurity, and the government is cross-verifying every model before certifying and giving you a BIS certification for that. So it's a good several months process of certification. So I don't think we see that happening, and we feel that's going to be
Okay.
a little growth avenue for us.
Got it. Sorry, and then the other part of your comment intrigued me. Maybe you said this earlier, but I'm just trying to now combine your comment on what you target versus what you've done, right? Your quarter one revenues, and correct me if I'm wrong, 16% margins, which are up 183 basis points, were 8.22%. What you're telling us right now is that for the year at large, you might actually end up between 20 and 25%. I think you said 25, if I'm not wrong, but let's assume 20 and 25%, which means the next 3 quarters have a substantially higher revenue growth on average, maybe 30% or thereabouts, if you will, and that will happen at a much higher margin if you want to clock in average margins of 10%. So you are guiding to an extremely robust next 9 months, top line margin, and an even stronger bottom line growth.
Yeah, I'll explain you this. I think,
Please.
yeah, quarter one, the largest pie of the business comes from IP cameras, where quarter one was muted because of the regulation change which kicked in on 9th of April. And markets, all the brands, including the Chinese brands, had pumped in their inventories pre 9th of April to finish off their old non-certified inventory, which they were not allowed to sell post 9th April. So that quarter one was a transitionary quarter. Quarter two, we are seeing a faster transition. Quarter three and four, the IP camera business will kick in much faster. So we foresee, and IP cameras are the one of the highest profitable cameras and the fastest growing product category in the basket. And so is also a little bit of the consumer camera. HD camera is a little muted. So keeping that in mind, our numbers, fall back that quarter one to quarter two, the growth will be higher, and so on in quarter three and quarter four, and accordingly the margin upside. Plus, as I said, the financial savings, the localization savings, and better market realizations each quarter as we kick in the newer range will play this part to achieve our guidance what we have given.
You've mentioned these regulations a couple of times, Mr. Khemka. If we can just go through them, what are the regulations exactly that have helped you?
So see, one thing, Tamanna, we have still been growing over 20-25% over the last 5 years, even prior to these regulations, competing with the giants of China. So somewhere we've been able to achieve that. We are still giving a 25-30% guidance moving forward. The regulations are something like this, that now to sell any network camera, which is IP camera or a Wi-Fi camera, you need to get a new test done, which is done by the STQC labs. Now here, the ethos is all around cybersecurity, trusted supply chain. What they have done is no Chinese semiconductor can be used here. So all the supply chains of and the product design have been redone over the past several maybe 2 years or so to comply by this. And then Mighty and STQC is under Mighty. So their labs test your products. They run your software and code under several cybersecurity softwares to check there is no malware, there is no backdoor, there is nothing inside the semicon which can have a pilferage of data, which means a complete fortification. They also, if you qualify that, you have to establish a trusted supply chain, which means you need authorization from the semicon company like a MediaTek or a Novatech or Qualcomm, these kind of companies who make the semiconductors, that you are authorized to develop products there, and you have so and so forth supply chain which has no possibility of any pilferage or a backdoor entry into the semicon. Post that, they go to your manufacturing facility, they do a complete thorough audit of the production process, again to establish there is nothing which can damage the data security. After all this is done and you pass through the cybersecurity norms, then you get a qualification under the CRO or the PPO. Post that, you are eligible to get a BIS. So government actually cancelled BIS of 400 over brands. A long tail was there of the unorganized sector. in April
So
after this.
so then what does that do to your market share? Thank you for explaining that. But two-part question very quickly. One is that you also have supply coming in from China, including semiconductors. Do these norms impact you negatively in that sense? And if you're saying it's a positive impact, what does it do to your market share then going forward? If you're saying a long tail of other suppliers have had their certificates cancelled?
So Tamanna, we have completely resetted our supply chains outside of China over the last 2 years. We don't have any semiconductors coming from China any further for many quarters now. All the semicon is coming from Taiwan or American companies. We also have partnered with companies like L&T Semicon, and we are developing IP camera chips, means the semicon itself, together with them from India, which we hope to come out in the next 1.5 year. We've been working for over a year on that project. So, we're doing a totally different supply chain and alternate supply chain strategy because now you can't use a China semicon. So we have already well in order. We have already locked our semicons for the next 6-12 months with most of these companies because semicon you need to lock for long term, and I think we are fairly confident on our supplies. Now, coming to market share, we feel our market share will expand substantially. We are mapping and doing our simulations almost every month, every quarter, because it's a complete reset of the industry. So if the Chinese market, which was almost 35% of the market was belonging to Chinese brands, is now no longer there, and then another 20% of the market, which was the informal economy or unbranded players doing cameras with any kind of label, also under qualification challenge with this certification because they have no manufacturing, no R&D, no proper supply chain. We are gauging how much of the market share as a brand and the largest player we can capture. And to cover that, we are expanding our capacities. We already, from next month, our capacities will be expanded by almost 30%,
Okay.
which was there last quarter. And by March, we are expanding it further. So by March, we are building capacity to actually cover half of the Indian demand. Now,
Okay.
how much of that we can use and utilize, my time will tell, but we are at least building that capacity.
Okay, so that's very interesting. Thank you, Aditya Khemka, for all of those insights, answering all of our questions, and helping us to get to know the business better as well.